This is Matthew Charles, a man whose life was taken away from him due to some mistakes that he made in the past. He was arrested on a drug offense. He served a lengthy prison sentence. He turned his life around. He got out of prison. And now the mainstream media and the political establishment are claiming that he was let out of jail by a mistake, and now he has to go back in. So Matthew Charles, after finally experiencing the dream that every prisoner dreams of, getting back out into freedom, he has to go back into prison in Tennessee. This is Alice Marie Johnson. Alice Marie Johnson was effectively pardoned by President Donald Trump, who commuted her sentence. She was released from prison. This is a woman with grandchildren and with great-grandchildren. This is a woman who served more than 20 years for a crack cocaine-related offense. Kim Kardashian West took her story to President Donald Trump in the White House and said, "Please free this woman." And President Donald Trump freed this woman. It might set a precedent for criminal justice reform in this country going forward. But the Democrats cannot celebrate this success. Jim Acosta, the idiot, on CNN, went on and on and on about how Kim Kardashian should not be in the White House. Oh God, this is a freak show. This is not normal. Kim Kardashian West has no business going to the White House. Only me, Jim Acosta, the guy who stalks Reddit users. Remember when CNN went after that poor kid on Reddit who made the meme? Only CNN is allowed to go into the White House. President Trump can't talk to Kim Kardashian. Well, what were the results? That poor woman got freed from prison, and now she gets to spend her twilight years with her family instead of locked up by the government. There are 2.3 million black people in this country in prison. That's 34% of the prison population. 33% of the drug offenders in prison are black. In the last month, 17 million white people and 4 million black people have used illegal drugs in this country. So why does CNN and the mainstream political establishment fight so hard against tearing down this modern-day plantation known as federal prisons? Why do they fight so hard to keep our border open so that cartels can push trillions of dollars worth of heroin and related drugs into this country? When a black man gets pinched on the street corner selling a baggie of heroin, where did that heroin originally come from? The black man on the corner who can't get a job because he's already a felon, he goes to prison for life. What about the cartels? What about the cartels who effectively control massive amounts of U.S. land down at the border so that they can squirrel their drugs into this country and pump it into the inner cities? What's being done about that? Both Republicans and Democrats are fighting against President Donald Trump's wall. Why? The answer is very obvious. Once heroin comes into this country, courtesy of the cartels, and it goes into the inner cities and people get arrested for heroin possession, and they become addicted to heroin, and then they go through the criminal justice system and they realize, I have to get off heroin. What can I do? Well, there's OxyContin waiting for them. There are all of our major pharmaceutical companies waiting for them to sell them synthetic heroin, which gives them the exact same high, in many cases an even stronger high. But those drugs are okay. There is an opioid crisis in this country. Everyone acknowledges that. The mainstream news talks about the opioid crisis. Every night on the nightly news, there's an opioid crisis. Now stay tuned for this commercial break. Here's Pfizer. Here's GlaxoSmithKline. Here are the big pharmaceutical companies selling you synthetic heroin. Hey, it's 8 o'clock during family hour. Children are watching. Let's put on commercials talking about 4-hour erections. The pharmaceutical companies control television in this country, and their drugs that they're pushing, which are causing an opioid crisis, that's okay. Those are the good kinds of drugs. President Donald Trump is the only one who stood up to the pharmaceutical companies and said that Medicare should be legally allowed to negotiate drug prices. That didn't sit too well with the people who bankroll Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan. Have the Democrats actually done anything about sentencing guidelines for drug users, for heroin and crack cocaine? They allow all the drugs to come into the country. They basically set up poor people all over the country for drug offenses and put them in prison. Have they done anything about sentencing guidelines? Has any progress been made on this until President Donald Trump got into office? The answer is no. In fact, Chuck Schumer, Lindsey Graham, and John McCain have taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from the private prison lobby. That's right, now there's a financial incentive for the government to lock up as many people as possible. And that's the fundamental essence of everything that the Democrats do. It's the fundamental essence of everything that the media and the political establishment does in both parties. That is the fundamental essence of everything that the system does that screws over poor people in this country and keeps the system afloat. It's money that matters. So if you want to stop it, follow the money.